Hello, and welcome to the Science on 7th live stream, a virtual space where we talk about issues related to air quality and health. I'm your host, Pallavi Pant, and I'm really excited to welcome you all back for our 2025 series, where once again we will bring guests from around the world to talk about topics that are fresh on people's minds. Since it is winter in many parts of the world right now, air pollution is absolutely top of people's minds. Last month, we released a report which detailed the air quality levels and trends, as well as the impacts on health in several regions across Asia, including Central Asia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. If you've been watching the news or following the news around air pollution, you've probably heard about air pollution levels in South Asian cities in particular, the fact that it has a significant impact on the people that are breathing the polluted air, and that millions of deaths occur as a result of these exposures. But one of the regions we covered in this report is Central Asia, a set of countries where air pollution is a problem, a very prominent and at times, especially in winter, a very visible problem. And yet, we hear much less about the issues that are prominent, the action that is happening, the challenges that people are facing. So today, I'm very pleased and very happy to be welcoming Maria Kolesnikova, who is the chairwoman of Move Green, an environmental organization based in Kyrgyzstan. She has over 13 years of experience in research, advocacy, stakeholder engagement, and awareness raising across topics. And she's been a very, very prominent voice on air pollution action in the Central Asian region. In 2021, for her efforts on the issue, she received a Champion of the Earth, the UN's highest award in the environmental protection arena. A very belated congratulations, Maria. And currently, she also serves as the head of board for Climate Action Network Eastern Europe, Caucasus, and Central Asia. And I'm really pleased that she's able to join us today. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm so excited to have this conversation today.
Thank you. So, as I was just saying, air pollution is clearly an important environmental issue in the Central Asian region. In fact, I think we have an image of what that pollution can look like on certain days. So this is our report, which I would ask you to check out. And if we can pull up the image with the smog layer, which is, going to show you just what this might look like. And in 2021, there were over 63,000 deaths because of air pollution exposure across the region. So this is clearly a big problem. And Maria, I'm curious to hear your view on this, your experience having lived through some of this, and also what are some of the sources that contribute to this pollution? And, can you paint us a picture of what it's like?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it can look horrifying, especially with the drones, like with the high buildings where you can take these pictures. But people started to feel it with the knowledge, with the data. When we had open data, like with citizen science available in our region. Like I remember, when was it? 2016, when we first started like looking for any data, and when we realized that it was not enough data, we were like, okay, shall we just see what exists in the world in neighboring countries? And that's how we installed our first sensors. And even like back then, we were like terrified, because during winter season, it was like we had enormous numbers. And but like awareness raising about this was really low at that time. Like really, people didn't feel it or didn't understand what it was. Some of them, I just remember some people were like, oh no, like it's not smoke, like why are you calling this smoke? When I tried to to start this conversation among like professional communities. No, like we used to be the second greenest city throughout Soviet Union, so it's not possible. But at the same time, like if we just see the whole region also, like many countries of like many cities in our countries are located geographically in the bowel, and we are surrounded by the mountains, which also like makes the problem of air pollution worse, because we have the pollution and it's not blown away by the winds, wherever it comes from. And then like we're just, kept, and we have to breathing like and waiting for the good weather. And climate change also, added to it, and like negative effects. And people started to feel it, especially when they, when they have they're sick, or they've been constantly sick, or their kids coughing all the time, and they were like, oh, it must be something wrong. And just to finish it with pollution sources, right? Like yeah, we like not all the countries, like for example Kazakhstan, they have different sources, because they are more advanced in terms of industries. And yeah, but like the main so it differs from country to country. But like in case of Kyrgyzstan, for example, we were surprised we don't have any heavy industries. Yeah, we do have one power plant in Bishkek city, which is capital, but that's probably it. And that's why we came to conclusion, and there is enough international organizations evidence now that it's private sector. So like private residence, I would say, not sector, sorry, like private residential houses. And they are often not isolated, like the no rules apply to construction. So they keep losing up to 60% of the heat, and they mainly use coal. So this is I think very common picture for Kyrgyzstan and some other cities in Uzbekistan, for example. And yeah, and transport, of course, we cannot eliminate other sources like transport, because we do not have advanced public transport in our cities, mainly throughout Central Asia, and it contributes a lot to air pollution, not only during winter but also in summer season.
Yeah, this is, very interesting. And some of it also reminds me of, conversations that I had maybe 10, 15 years ago with people who were similarly questioning, including my parents. This isn't smog, it's just fog. It happens in winter. It's nothing to worry about. And then, of course, over time, thankfully, that situation has changed a little bit in India. And I think what I also find very interesting in this region is, coal use. So in many other parts of the world, cooking is the reason that a lot of households and families are using coal, whereas in this region it's more to do with heat, or heating homes and residential sector. So clearly the residential consumption and use of fuels, regardless of what reasons they're using it for, continues to be really important. And you mentioned, the sensor networks that you've installed, and I want to bring up an image which shows some of the different activities that you've been working on, producing and creating more data sets that can be useful for action. Trying to work with people directly to engage them, to get them to understand the issue of air pollution better, and on a very local scale. I know you've also worked and contributed to action in Bishkek, and the action plan for the environment that was developed. And I'm curious how you got involved in this type of work, and how has this action plan been thinking and addressing air pollution particularly?
Thank you. So that's actually a continuation of the initial idea. Okay, if we don't have data, we should produce our own data. We should find how. So we found, as a very small organization, like I have a joke about this. When we started, we were 2.5 people, like particular method 2.5, because we had me, and I served as a communicator, and we had environmental engineer Baktagul, Stakeva. And we had accountant who worked half time for us. So that's why it's 2.5. But like how amazingly it has changed, because like we like I really found only one person who believed the problem existed and we should address it. And I was curious about it because I saw a picture in 2016, and I was like of the city and with the gray layer. I was like, what? Like, no, it mustn't, like I don't know, like it's not fog or like, but what is it? So I was curious, and I was like, yeah, I was volunteering for Move Green at that time. So I started as a volunteer, and yeah, I didn't have enough maybe knowledge and background, but like throughout these years I've built my own expertise in this, with help of like amazing people that I've met. So and then like when we went viral, because we wanted also to communicate clearly the data, because usually what happens, there is scientists who speak their own language, like people also their own interest and language, decision makers, and like it's not that easy, you know, to uh, like to speak this the language that everyone understands. So that's why we wanted this clearly, the clearly people would understand the data. So we developed a mobile app and try to explain everything like with coloring. So it at that time it was very new. Maybe today people are like, yeah, like it existed forever, like it was there all the time. So, but like we tried really to be very like not simplistic but very simple, um, and well, and people picked it up, and suddenly there was some groups who already felt the health impact of air pollution. They're like, yeah, like that's what I was thinking, like for a while, or I saw this, even like the problem actually been there for many years now, but like there is no data, there is no official data, and now I see actually like that data say the same, so contributes to my own thoughts about this. And decision makers, like after a while, like there were of course a lot of media involvement. They reach out, we reach out, like press releases, you know, interviews and etc. So we started campaigning in social media, and local media supported us. And like at some stage, decision makers, they couldn't ignore it, and they started to think about this, like and then they invited us to the table, and that's how our collaboration started. And I was so surprised because it was like so quick, like in a year, and the reaction of decision makers, like authorities, was very positive. Yeah, so that was a real surprise, a good you know, thing that I started with. So I had a lot of inspiration and motivation to continue this work and consult them further.
That's such a wonderful, arc that sort of started with an image and then sort of has led to so much more work and awareness raising. And I think this story we have now seen in multiple countries, especially the fact that we are able to monitor data on air pollution in relatively inexpensive ways, and it's some of it is more easily accessible. Apps are a wonderful way to get this out to people, social media as well. And as you were sharing your story, I was thinking also of a similar development that happened in Pakistan, very much organic, started with one person, and then became a whole national conversation, and the government and the courts got involved. So clearly, even starting with one concerned individual who believes that this is a problem that needs addressing can take us a long, long way. And one other thing that I think is really impressive, and something that I always really like to think about more deeply, is how do we build connections? How do we create opportunities for people to not only share what they're doing, but exchange ideas, exchange what's working, what new information may be relevant. And you've done that very successfully with the Air Quality Central Asia, platform. And I've had the pleasure of attending, some of the events and meetings that the platform has put together. They are absolutely incredibly informative. They bring together a range of different organizations and experts together. And I'm again wondering, how did that originate, the idea of creating this platform, and what did it take to get to this stage, and building up this platform for the regional problem?
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was also like organic step, I would say, to improve, because the solutions are there, but we should take into consideration local context. And our region surely have countries who evolved more in, especially in terms of legislation, for example, to cope more effectively with environmental pollution. So that's why like it has been challenging, although I shared like a positive example. Like it's like a roller coaster, it really depends on people who makes decisions, and who are in the parliament, who is the ministry of natural resources, in hydromet, and etc. So it really depends on people, and building these connections is absolutely important. um, uh, but like the good thing about this, like what happened, we realized that maybe it was not enough to try to find solution within the country or with help of international specialists, for example. But what if we, spread the word and like find people in the region who already done something, who already trying something new, initiatives to tackle air pollution. And that's how the idea of AQCA platform was born. And the idea of it that it was not the network only for activists or only for ecologists, but like we combined I think mainly four audiences, who are media in the region, also activists and decision makers, and technical experts or ecologists, let's say. So everyone who wanted to benefit from it and also to share the knowledge that they have, uh, like can be a part of it. So like initially we didn't really of course expected authorities to become members, but we were again surprised. And this surprise differs from country to country. For example, in one country the Ministry of Health is very active, and we were like, oh wow. In another country hydromets are very active, or like activists and etc. So it's that's why it created, I think, a really cool mix of people who drive the change. Of course, the challenge is to find financial resources for the members. But what we do, we try, like maybe not. We were not that active last year, but like the previous years, we would organize webinars for the members, and the members could also like they could tell something, they could speak, and that's how we not only came together once a year when we had annual conference, but also I think that the conference itself became like a stage, or like maybe milestone is a big word, but like we've been waiting for it to present, for example, new research or new results or new positive initiatives that have been very sufficient and positive in one city, in one country, and etc. So I really like I'm really inspired by these people, and I'm so grateful that so many organizations help to make it happen. So the AQCA is a product of different organizations, and this is what makes it alive. And when it's someone's like this is creates ownership, I guess, or like maybe I'm very idealistic about it, but like this is something that's like everyone can can find some resources and like, oh yeah, like let's do it. I know this is happening next year, and I know this is something that we should support. For example, like whenever it comes to donor organization, international organizational, local, or even governmental. So it's like for me, AQCA is a unique mix of this network of really brilliant people who drive the change, like the positive change to improve air quality in Central Asia.
Now, this is, A, fascinating, and B, I really like that you broadened the tent a little bit, because, sometimes we all get caught up in this idea that, this is what I do. So I'm going to work with people who do similar things, and we're going to, keep making progress. But being able to bring in all kinds of people that are interested in the issue, and, have them share ideas and knowledge and experiences, can be very powerful, and also getting others to act. So thank you for doing that work, to you, and to all other people who may have been involved. I'm hoping that AQCA will continue to grow, and do more novel things. A couple of follow-up questions based on what you said. So just for the audience members who may be less familiar with how air quality monitoring happens in the region, you've mentioned hydromet a couple of times, and my understanding is that hydromet departments, or ministries, are really the people who are responsible for the monitoring of environmental variables. And can you talk a little bit more about how that works, what role hydromets especially perform?
Yeah, I think the role of hydromet is essential here because in our countries they can be under different ministry, not necessarily under the Ministry of Environmental Protection. So, which is the case in Kyrgyzstan, they operate under the Ministry of Emergency Situations. So they're quite kind of like independent from the Environmental Protection Ministry. And people there are responsible, to plan accordingly to improve air quality, but they get data, official data from hydromet. So that's why it's so important to have reliable monitors and the monitoring network for these hydromet institutions, which has been a problem for Kyrgyzstan, for example. But like because of the big campaign and interest, awareness raising, the constant, I think that now international organizations also interested to support the hydromets. And like last year, the government got a grant from one of the international banks to improve the monitoring and network in hydromet of Kyrgyzstan, so which is a positive improvement. And I hope with this, and the same is happening in other countries of Central Asia, and I hope with this we will end up the conversation where we challenge data, like we challenge, like by saying we okay when decision makers, let's be clear about this, challenge the data that exists, like voluntary data, citizen science data, and just rely on the data that hydromet institutions have and produce. And let's see, because I'm sure like the image that you've seen, it's not the only one. So there are more images like this from Bishkek that I see online. It's everywhere this season. So and I mean the data will be almost similar. So, and it's not safe. It's not safe to live and breathe with this air like almost 5 months a year. So that's why like it's so important to start acting on this, because I've been doing my work, I think, in the Organization on Air Quality 8 years now. And in the beginning it was very quick, and I was like, yeah, the progress is here and we are moving, and yeah, we will be like in 10 years, like we will have better situation. Now 8 years like no, it's not better, unfortunately. So it means that, yeah, like we have data, we have enough data to start acting. Yeah, maybe we need more reliable, like, sense. Of course we need more reliable monitors, but it will complement the actions that are already being implemented, for example. And we like, I'm not saying we like our ministry didn't do anything. Of course they started like last year, 2 years ago. There've been a couple of really cool initiatives to improve air quality, but like there is no a complex like complex actions. There are plans, everything looks good on a paper, not questions to it, but when it comes to realization, implementation, there are questions. So to address this issue, I think the main idea is, like, we need this click and understand how complex air pollution is. So, and I think this understanding will help us move forward faster.
No, that's everything you're saying is so true in so many other locations too. Because and if we look at places that have improved air quality, in many of those instances, it's taken decades, and it's taken decades of action, decades of continuous monitoring to see what's working, what's not working, how can we continue to make progress. So it is absolutely critical that we keep working on the issue and not give up, and B, that we use the best data that is available to us and the best evidence to take the actions or to inform the actions. So I'm very happy that this is something you picked as a topic to focus on in your career. And I know that I mentioned it at the beginning while introducing you. You have been a very prominent and a very vocal voice. I just want to bring up an image here, which also gives us a little bit of hope. So there's you sort of saying that someone has to take responsibility, and why shouldn't it be me? And then the one that I really like is the other one where it's where you're saying it is going to be okay. And there's a lot of people in many places, especially young people. I was just talking to some in Nigeria yesterday who are very, very interested, very, very involved in this work, that are very motivated to take action. And your passion, of course, shines through all of the work that you've done in the last 8 years and more. So to all those young people who are also thinking about what they can do, how they can contribute, what is your message? And what's inspiring you? What's giving you hope? And how do we continue to keep marching on?
Thank you. As you know, I'm now in a gathering. It's annual strategic meeting for Climate Action Network. And when I come to such events, when I see people, like-minded people, and I see them from different countries, almost all countries in the world, and I find it so inspiring that we all came to, because we are interested in making the world greener for us, for future generations, and we are those who care. And when I, like, understand this, I'm like, okay, I'm not alone, and I'm not the unique one in this, in a good way, because there are other people, and it means that there will be other people in my community as well. Maybe I haven't found all of them yet, but like there will be always people, and people really, I admire them, who have courage, and who have values like that I share, and they really devote their time to do something like positive, because I've been there also so many times in in this state of mind when I'm like, no, I'm burnt out, I've done enough, like, let someone else take it out from here. I'm not going to be a part of this movement anymore. But like this, I think this is common when you don't see the result, or like the results are not as fast as you imagine them to be. um, and you just need to relieve this. And something that really helps me when I see I'm not alone. And like was that's why one of my maybe advices be like find someone like you. Also find some a network, organization, small initiative, whatever, but just find the place for yourself where you can express something that you care about, and you will be understood. And like you will be you will be surrounded by team or people who really share the same values, and you start acting, you start generating this renewable energy in yourselves. And you like starting to be very creative, like all these ideas in the air, and you just pick them, and like when the idea is there, you start implementing with the energy, with inspiration and motivation, because you're not doing this alone, and you believe in the result, like with all this with all these people around you who believe the same. So it's contagious, like, I mean, this positive thinking.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think we need a lot of this sort of energy and also this passion to keep going. And this has been such a fascinating conversation. And what I'm taking away from this is, the work that even starts with 2.5 people can bring a lot of awareness and action, as we've seen in Kyrgyzstan over the last few years. And hopefully now with these new developments, there will continue to be more action. And this is a region where air pollution is a problem. So hopefully there can also be more global attention and interest in helping create solutions and interventions that work. So Maria, thank you again very, very much for your time and for joining us. I know you're in beautiful weather and near the ocean right now. So thank you for taking the time to chat with us. We really appreciate it. And thank you also for all of the phenomenal work you do with Move Green and beyond. We look forward to what you're going to continue to do, and hopefully we'll find ways to work together. So thank you very, very much.
Thank
And anyone listening in, thank you for joining. This was our first live stream for 2025. We will be back on Friday, March 7th, which is part of the Open Data Week, and we will be welcoming two guests to talk about open data and air quality. So please join us then. And in the meantime, check out the previous episodes. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on March 7th. Goodbye.